women are livid with me. Women are livid with me. And just to know, if you hear any like hum or any noise in the background, somebody is fixing something outside. So if you hear it and it's bothering you, I just want to apologize for that. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to actually bring to the attention or talk about a lot of the comments that I got on the previous video in regards to the situation with rapper YK Osiris and rapper Sukihana. Okay, if you don't know, I'm gonna go ahead and link that video in the description box so you guys can go watch it, or I'll tag it somewhere here also so you guys can watch that video. But long story short, the situation happened with rapper Sukihana, right? She went out and she was in a space or in a situation that, she was sitting somewhere on a panel and another rapper came up and he kissed her. Okay, she was, seen kind of like, laughing with him, joking with him. Before he kissed her, she was saying like, oh, boy, I'll run circles around you. I will do this and I will do that. Like, it was so much of a back and forth between them. And then he kissed her, right? Come to find out later that obviously she was not happy with it. She felt some type of way about it. She felt, that he overstepped his boundaries, and she was upset about that situation. During that video, I chose to also highlight other situations that this woman has gone to other spaces and people have treated her the same exact way. Whether it's how they talk to her, whether it's how aggressive they are with her. I even omitted a couple videos because this is something that happens whenever she goes somewhere based on the context or based on the content in music that she puts out, based on the things that she says on social media, based on a lot of different things. In that video, I said it, and at the timestamp 7:47, 7 minutes and 47 seconds, that I wholeheartedly agree that when somebody oversteps your boundaries, regardless of any situation, it is wrong. Regardless. Okay? If you was flirting, if you was wearing this, if you was doing this, if you was doing that, when somebody oversteps your boundaries, there is something that is completely wrong with that. Okay? However, the whole point of my conversation and the whole point that I am trying to get across to women is that a lot of women stand in places or they portray a certain behavior or a certain energy around men, leading them to think that certain things are okay, and then they backpedal when things get real. I even said, you would see other situations where somebody who, is not, talking about that kind of content, is not, saying certain things on social media. If that situation were to happen and somebody's overstepping their boundary with that woman, you will see men be like, yo, what you doing? Yo, chill. What's wrong with you? You okay? In this situation, people were offended by the other men on the panel for not, quote unquote, protecting her. And my point of view is, as a woman, when you are so vocal about the things that you do or things that you won't do, that you're willing to do, you're so vocal about intimate things and intricate things that go on with you, people look at you as, oh, she can handle her own. She got it. If she was offended, wouldn't she say it? Wouldn't she be so bold enough to, explain or express how she feels in regards to any situation, being that she's done that before when it comes to her intricate details of her life or her bedroom? People are going to be like, no, you got it. You good. Because we know her to be outspoken. We know for her to say things that are against the grain. We know that, she has no problem saying things that maybe other people don't agree with. So if somebody is putting themselves in a position that she doesn't like, she would have no problem checking him. And I even went to the point that a lot of women have no problem having a mouth for everybody else. Oh no, I don't deal with brokies. I don't deal with this. I don't deal with that. Oh, he a nerd. Oh, he a this. Oh, he a that. And then when the situation actually comes down to it, when you can actually, vocalize how you feel about a situation, then you don't want to say anything. We have to talk about these things. I purposely highlighted the women in the comments. There was some negative. I picked out just a couple positive, but I really wanted to have this conversation and show you guys the comments, because I find that it is extremely sad that, women can hear the conversation and hear the full thought process and hear everything, and still they are looking for somebody else to blame instead of taking accountability and saying, you know what? It's true. I do have a part to play in this. You know what? It's true. There are things that are like this, or there are things that are like that. You know what? Well, let's point the finger at him. Let's only focus on what he's doing. Let's not focus on anything that she says or anything that she's done in her past that has nothing to do with this. So how will we know how to move in our own personal lives if you can't pick the sense out of nonsense out of this conversation? So this is the first one. It says, you're right, but this still doesn't give him the right to kiss her without consent. We've been teaching little girls, I think it's supposed to say since the beginning of time, how to avoid this by acting like ladies and don't dress a certain way, etc. But we're not teaching little boys about consent and why it's never justified. Here's the thing. We are teaching little girls. First of all, who is we? Okay, first of all, no disrespect to the person who commented this, but who is we? Because when we look around, we don't see modesty, especially in this day and age. I would love to know where you can look around and see young girls who are 12, 13, 14, who actually look their age and who are dressing their age. You can go to the mall today and go see a girl walking around the mall with her mom or her whoever with a crop top on and booty shorts. There is no modesty, if we're going to be certain about that. Also, it's more than just teaching little girls how to dress. We don't talk about to little girls like, hey, if somebody does this, you need to do this. If somebody says this, you should say this. A lot of mothers are so busy teaching their young daughters or young girls, who not to be with, and, make sure the man have money and make sure this and don't depend on a man. They'd rather tell you everything that is going to go against the man. But when it comes to tools that you're going to be able to need, whether it's to keep a good relationship, whether it's going to respect a man, whether it is going to be, how to, be a nice member of society, or be somebody that's going to, assist your husband in the home sense, being a good mother, being a good this. It's rare that we hear those conversations. I have to be honest. How to respect authority. How many young girls do we see nowadays that are on social media and we see the news, they fighting a teacher? I saw one situation where a girl had some kind of something going on at school and people jumped her, and the mama came back and was fighting kids. Or if, the teacher is called from, home or whatever, and the parent is telling the teacher like, hey, I want to let you know that your daughter is doing this. They coming up there ready to check the teacher. What we're actually teaching young girls is you should be able to do whatever it is that you want to do, and people have to move around. Whether it's men, whether it's authority, whether it is, whoever it is, you can do whatever you want. You're never going to be wrong in any situation. Somebody's always going to have your back. Somebody is always going to, get you out of a situation because you're the woman. You can't do any wrong. It's not true. It's rare that we hear real conversations of women giving advice to real, that real down home mama advice. Like, girl, It's not just about how you dress. It's also about how you carry yourself and how you respect yourself. Don't be playing around with this if you don't want this. Don't be doing this if you don't want this. Because the whole point is that you're trying to say, like, oh, we need to do this and we need to do that and we need to think about the other party. And I said this in my last video as well. Prevention is better than cure. Y'all are worried about, oh, well, just in case, well, he shouldn't have to do and he shouldn't have to do. Okay, so say for instance, right? I'm just going to use this as an example, which I know this is not true, but I'm going to use this for an example. Say for instance, all young men were not taught about, if she say no, that means no. Are you going to put your daughter in a space that says, okay, well, you're the one that, they're supposed, if you tell them this, then that means that, and they have to be fine with it, and, that's it. When your daughter goes out there, are you relying on the other person to get it right, or are you going to give her the tools? That's the whole point of the conversation. Y'all be wanting to point the finger at somebody else so bad. Instead of equipping yourself with the tools, or equipping your young girls with the tools, you rather say, well, we sent them out there and we did this and we did that, and too bad, so sad, he should have never did this. When it's too late, now you're trying to cure the problem. Now you're trying to cure her trauma. Now you're trying to cure the pain. Now you're trying to cure this. We have to be honest. In every situation, when somebody oversteps a boundary, is it going to be the person who the boundary was overstepped on their fault, or that they had a part to play with it? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. However, there are times when people have had a part to play in the situation. Whether that's going to hurt somebody's feelings or not, whether it's going to hurt somebody's emotions or not, whether people are going to be upset about it or not, it's true. Oh, I went over there because I thought this, and why'd you go over there? Why'd you go over there? What made you feel like you should go over there? Because you were curious? Because you wasn't sure what was going to happen? Can we be honest? Can we be honest? I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. The next comment was, oh, so you're basically blaming the victim? First of all, okay? And I hate to bring this up, especially in regards to the situation, but I have to. There was a music video that this person, the woman who was going through all this stuff, was in, and she was literally bent over, dancing on somebody, some young man who was probably no older than 10 or 11 years old. Okay? That person is also a victim. It don't matter if his parents was like cool with it. It don't matter who. It doesn't matter the situation, because now that innocence, that veil has been unwrapped, unraveled. I just got to keep it 100. People are very sensitive, but people like to, use like, you're victim blaming, or, oh, you're victim shaming, and this is why people don't speak out, and, this is why this, and this is why that. We have to be honest. We have to be honest. You know why? Because other people will think very, very deeply. They will see very clearly situations. They will watch the situation play out before they even go there, or before they even participate in things. How many times do we have to say that what he did was wrong? But you don't think that there's more to the conversation? You think that he's wrong and that's just a full stop? It's not. It's not. Because this isn't a one-off situation. Again, this is every time this person goes somewhere. This is how people are treating her. You don't think that there's a common trend? Are all the men the same? No. There's a common denominator. So now we look at the common denominator and we just analyze the actions. Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. I'm going to move on to the next one. Let's see what the next one says. Okay. This one says consent is key, which I agreed with already. But since you're a black male worshiping mammy, wouldn't expect for you to understand that. Her profession doesn't give anyone the right to violate her, and I understand your tune. It's an old one, white, and misogynistic. Doesn't matter how a woman presents themselves, doesn't give him consent or right to do that. Duh. We said that already. We said that 1,000,000 times. And you know, what's so interesting is, I don't even want to jump before because I'm pretty sure another comment addresses this. But what's so interesting is that, you know, women are so defensive. Calling me any of these names is not going to hurt my feelings because it means nothing to me. Everything that you're saying about me is bouncing right off of me and going right back to you. All that negative energy, I return it all back to sender. But the point is, a lot of women, and this is why a lot of women go through certain things when it comes to their relationships, when it comes to, you know, them having problems in their family structures, with baby daddy, with all this stuff. It's because a lot of women, they listen to respond. They listen to be defensive. Before they even hear the conversation, they're already ready. You know, they're already coming in the gate swinging. Instead of listening to comprehend the full context of the situation. It says, it doesn't matter how a woman presents himself. It does. You really think that it does not matter how a woman presents herself? If you go to a job interview, perfect example. If you go to a job interview and you walk in and you know, you're trying to be in this corporate job and you go in with a bonnet on your head, okay, wearing your pajamas like you just rolled out of bed, face dry, just looking like you don't care about it, do you think that they're going to give you the position, or do you think that they're going to categorize you as somebody who is unqualified based on your appearance? People are always going to be categorized based on face value, based on the things that you say, based on the things that people see you do. People are always going to do that. We know that. She's saying consent is key. Of course it is. But saying I'll run laps around you, boy. You know, I'll do this, boy. Please. Saying, engaging in that type of conversation or that type of, you know, joking around, playing around with this person that you really are not interested in. Does that make any sense? Because you're playing with this person is making them feel like you're on the same level playing field. Like, oh yeah, you know, I could do this, I could do that. I kiss her on the cheek. All she doing is laughing and giggling. She said she was going to run miles around me. So I'm thinking, we cool. A lot of people are focusing on the clip of the kiss and not focusing on the conversation prior to. You can say whatever you want to say about me, but you can't say I don't have any sense. Let's move on to the next one. Next one says, you sound like a pick-me. Oh my gosh, how original. How original. No matter how a woman acts, if she doesn't choose to welcome certain behaviors, she's in her right no matter how she acts. Of course. Well, hold up. People talk things all the time. Can't blame others for men not having self-control. Some of y'all really show you haven't really had attention from the people y'all are attracted to. First of all, what are you talking about? Like, first of all, I'm confused. Some of y'all really show you haven't really had attention from the people y'all are attracted to. I don't get it. Was that supposed to be towards me or towards men? Maybe it's towards men in the comments. I don't know. But no matter how a woman acts, if she doesn't choose to welcome certain behaviors, she's in her right no matter how she acts. Okay, here's the thing. You are in your right, right? To do what you want, say what you want, dress how you want, walk how you want, talk how you want. But for every single action, there is a reaction. Every single one. This is why even people who are in the industry of, if you want to know anything about the industry, go on TikTok and you'll see where people who are literally, being sold out for a night or for an hour or whatever, they have certain procedures in their mind. They have certain things that they have in their mind because they know that they are prone to certain things based on their profession. So explain that. They are going to take certain precautions that a woman who works in the bank is not necessarily going to take. Explain that. Explain that. I'm going to move on. Okay. I'm going to move on. This lady says, so 304s aren't allowed to have boundaries. It's not necessarily flirting, sweetie. Game is game, and if I can trick you out, I'm going to do it. However, don't cross the line of my personal space. You never know how you'd react in certain situations. For instance, I froze being, and I'm known for being tough and able to handle mine, but I froze. People treat you how they want to treat you. I'm a very humble, loving, and caring soul and put out what I want in return. However, people still do what they feel. Doesn't matter tit for tat. When I put up my boundaries, that's it, period. So you said game is game, and if I can trick you out, I'm going to do it. So you're talking about manipulating the other party out of things. Yes, it's not physical, but it's other things that you are manipulating the other person out of doing, but you're allowed to do that. And you think that this is the problem. Women try to make certain things they try to make it seem like it's such a big difference, and at the same time, it's really not. Because you're manipulative, and if somebody manipulates you into a situation that you're upset about, you can't fathom. 304s, like we're talking about the real ones, not the ones that just call themselves that, like the real ones, they understand the game that's being played. Again, why do they take certain precautions with their career? Because they understand how easy it is for somebody to overstep whatever boundaries they have because of how they categorize themselves. We have to, listen, this is not about feelings. It's not about feelings. And that's where a lot of women are getting this twisted. They're thinking with their feelings, their heart, their emotions. Oh my gosh, how could she? Why would she? Why this? Why that? Does it make more sense for us to say, okay, people are going to do whatever they feel. So just, don't be aware. Don't be cautious. Don't watch how you're maneuvering around people. Don't watch the body language that you're giving other people. Don't watch the quote unquote cues that you're signaling in front of other people that you can't control. Don't watch any of that. Just be you. Because if you're a good person, if you're a bad person, if you're this person, if you're that person, it doesn't matter, because once you put up a boundary, nobody should cross it. That makes no sense. We should be talking about the women who are engaging in certain situations, who are entertaining certain conversations, and then turn around and they're shocked when things happen when you've been following everything leading up to it. You at the job flirting with this man, giving him sweet eye, talking about, oh, well, if you was my man, I would do this. If you was doing this, giving him the inclination that you're interested in him. Then y'all get in the break room and, something, he's saying something to you that you're offended by. And then you go to somebody and you report what he said to you. But what about all the conversations leading up to that and how engaged you were in the conversation, how funny you thought it was? People keep trying to group different things into this one conversation, and this one conversation is very simple. We're not talking about women who are, in certain situations and they did not display certain things. That's not what we're talking about. Again, let me remind you again. She talking about she gonna run circles around him. Oh, little boy, don't play with me. I'll turn you out. I'll do this. I'll do that. Seconds before he kissed her. Because he's looking at that as a challenge. Like, oh, you're trying to challenge me. You're trying to make it seem like I'm a little boy. I can't handle you. Let me show you. I kiss you on the cheek. All you did was giggle about it. You didn't tell me don't touch you. You didn't say, you didn't get up and push me. You didn't do anything. So then I kissed you again and you was laughing still. We're talking about somebody who is engaging in the conversation. We're not talking about somebody who is in a certain situation and somebody just walks over and just does whatever. With no sign, no this, no that. That is a completely different conversation. Completely different. Let's move on to the next one. So this is, these are some comments that I saw that were very interesting. And again, these are all women who left these comments. But I really, really wanted to talk about this. So this woman commented and she said, I get a sense that Suki is portraying something that she's really not. She's really a good, loyal, loving woman and mother. We don't hear or even see her with men, if any. She protects her children, which, I mean, that might be here or there because, she had a whole spicy site showing everything that she do and how she created them kids. So I just want to say that. I think she's portraying whatever she needs to for that shock factor. I say this because a woman who is really about that 304 life would be quick to check someone who made her uncomfortable because she's been there, done that. She said she grew up sheltered, so this 304 ghetto street life was probably something she glamorized. But as an adult, you are held responsible for the image and the energy that you portray. Somebody who completely gets the conversation. I get exactly what you're saying. This 304 culture isn't cute. It's mostly women in their 30s looking for pushermen and thugs, or at least singing about it. They want a traditional life at the end of the day. I must say, they are trying to create an image of a woman who used men for money, intimacy, without love. Because our mothers and grandmothers had to deal with men that cheated, had side babies, broke hearts, left people damaged, passing that on to the next generation. So I get it. But I don't agree with the lifestyle. A woman truly living a 304 life will break her own heart. It shouldn't be women versus men. We need each other. I completely agree that we need each other. And I actually, I wanted to highlight this conversation because there's so many key things that this woman said. And I'm going to start from the bottom. One of the main things that this woman said is that, the grandmothers and the mothers were talking about cheating and side babies and broken hearts and leaving people damaged and passing that on to the next generation. And to be honest, there was so many people from yesteryear, who passed on their hurt, who passed on the problems, who passed on their disdain for whoever's daddy or whoever granddaddy or whoever because of the things that they went through. But you know what they did not pass on a lot of the times is what they did in a certain situation. I just have to be honest. Either what they did, what they knew, what they pretended like they didn't know, what they how they treated him, how they said this to him, how they this, how they that, how not to talk to. They never talked about how you could have a different situation. That was never the conversation. It was like, oh, well, have kids, do what you got to do, be single like me. We could raise kids on our own. We good at it. The conversation is never about, well, you could be different. Don't look at me. Don't look at whatever situation happened. It was never that. It was always about woe is me and what happened to them. Oh, well, I can't depend on a man, so you shouldn't depend on one either. Is it because of you couldn't depend on that person because maybe you were too young when you guys met? Trying to create something, a very mature family structure, a very mature relationship, but you were 15 when you met him? Could it be that y'all was talking about how cute each other were, but you weren't looking at the in-depth context of who this person is, who this person is going to be? Is this person going to be a good father? Is this person going to be a good leader? Is this person, were you looking at that? Is it because you was worried about his skin complexion or his hair texture or his eye color or his height or the type of family he come from and who his people was? They never want to talk about those things. They only talk about the woe is me. That lead other women to thinking that they could do it on their own. They could do this. They could do that. She was saying, she was forming her own opinions of how this person is and stuff like that, and how she, what she protects, and, how loyal she is and how good she is or whatever. And she was saying that people who are normally, into that certain life, they can see the demeanor from a mile away. They can see if a person is attracted to them. They can see if a person is playing with them. They can see if a person is this, and they can see if a person is that from, miles away. When a guy is walking up to them, they already know what to expect. So she's saying that she thinks that she's, presenting a false persona to try to, like she said, leave the shock value, or, trying to make herself, come up in the media a lot or trend more or whatever by just saying the most outlandish or outrageous things. I don't believe that. I believe that this person is displaying who they are, maybe what they feel, and possibly it's from a place of ignorance as to the portrayal or how people will treat you when you do this. Because maybe wherever it is that you're from, or the people that you know or that you grew up around, when you displayed this way, they still treated you a certain way because they knew you, because they love you, because they had respect for you, not because of the things that you do or the things that you say, but just because they've known you for so long, maybe since you guys were young. But when you put that onto a bigger, broader spectrum, you're in front of people who you can't think for, who don't know you, who don't love you. And that's why I love when she said you are held responsible for the image and the energy that you portray, because you are. People are not going to see, Miss Obama walking down the street and ask her the questions that they asked this woman. There was a guy who asked this woman a question, and I couldn't believe what he asked her. And she was like, ah! Or most people would have been like, who are you talking? What did you just say? We got to be honest. We have to be honest. A lot of y'all don't want to be honest because you and your feelings. This comment says, this child needs proper female guidance. It's evident that she has never had decent female role models. She once confessed how she comes from a whole line of 304s. Her behavior is a clear affirmative to that. She will regret her entire persona by the time she hits 35 to 40. I am certain she cries herself to sleep at night. Now, this is all, just somebody's opinion. This is just this woman's opinion, her feelings about the entire situation as she's watching everything that this woman displays. But yes, if you are walking around and you feel like you come from a whole line of 304s and you're owning that, and you're displaying that, and you're claiming that you are that, then when somebody treats you like that, why can you be shocked? I don't think people understand. Like, people have normalized the whole, the whole being a 304, like it's an everyday thing, like it's not that big of a deal. But from what I know, when people look at 304s, and I'm talking about people who actually have that as a career, when people look at that as a woman, they look at you in a way that they would not look at somebody else. Okay? They're not going to look at you in the most highest regard. They're not going to have the highest form of respect for you. As much as women are trying to normalize it and are trying to say, oh, who cares what these men think and who cares what these men say? Get it how you live. Like, women are the only people who are comforting women about this career or about this 304 lifestyle is other women. When men are saying, no, we don't respect that. Pay for it. We'll do this, we'll do that, but we're going to categorize you and treat you a certain way. There's people who are, there was somebody I saw who did a whole interview about her, 304 lifestyle, and was so excited to talk about the people who did certain things or did that or did this or did that, and basically was saying that it come with the lifestyle. It wasn't hurtful to her. She wasn't shocked about it. She wasn't like coming at a certain way. And it's because she's like, yeah, well, I done some things too. Or I put myself in that position. Well, I went there because I thought I was going to get this. And it ended up turning out like this. There's a large difference between people who put themselves in situations and people who are not putting themselves into situations. And you can put yourself in situations knowingly and unknowingly. Knowingly by entertaining conversations, by going over there to see what you can get out of a certain situation and playing the game, by, telling somebody or pretending that you down with stuff and, over the text messages or over the phone. And then when you get in person, you get cold feet. Unknowingly, by being a part of certain conversations, by telling this person certain information about your life, by asking this person certain questions, by engaging in conversation with somebody inappropriately, by laughing at jokes when somebody's making to you when you really don't think it's funny. Y'all ain't ready for this full conversation. Y'all not ready for it. I like this comment as well. It said, you hit every single point. I really appreciate your point of view. Definitely necessary for all girls and women to understand how important it is to represent ourselves in the most respectful manner, point blank, period. If we don't, who will? Thank you for this video. No, but if we don't, who will? If we don't respect ourselves, how do we expect other people to respect us? If we don't walk around and display a certain nature about ourselves, how do we expect people to know what we stand for or know what we're against? If we don't say, okay, no, that's not funny. I'm not going to play with you like that. That's not funny. Why would you say that to me? That's disrespectful. How could you say that to me? If we don't call things out, some people are trying to be, they call me the pick me. But they get around men and men disrespect them and they don't say anything about it because they want to be liked. They want to be the cool girl. Instead of saying, what are you doing? Why are you saying that? That's not funny to me. Why are you talking to me like that? Why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? Or somebody talking, you just act like you just zoned out. You can't hear, you can't see. Because what? What did you say? People who carry themselves with a certain energy. There are some women who they can have on clothes that are skimpy and men will still not talk to them in a certain way because of the energy that the woman holds. And there are some women who are fully clothed and men will talk to them a certain way because of the energy that they're exuding. It's a lot deeper than just, oh, what you have on or the things that this. There's a whole formula. There's a whole formula. Women are so busy being defensive or being on the defense or blaming other people than looking at and trying to figure out what the formula is or how can I go from being like this or why should I not do this or you know what? I should not do this or I shouldn't try this. You have women that will amp other women up and be like, girl, go over his house and, do whatever you got to do. But as soon as you don't want to go further than that, just dip. Pushing their friends over there to go do stuff like that. And then if their friend comes back crying, they're like, oh my gosh, how dare he? They would never say, oh my gosh, why would I send you over there to do something like that? Oh my gosh, why would I tell you, to do that when I don't even know this person like that? Why would I do that? They're not going to say that to you. They're going to blame the other person when they're the ones who was amping you up over there. Protection comes from within. Being on your P's and your Q's. Who feels it knows. Trust me. Anyways, I would like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on this second part to the original reaction. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed, and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.